So this is about building a virtual assistant team. And I think I can truthfully say, to discover a foolproof method of hiring low-cost, qualified employees for your business the first time, I really think I've got this dialed down to a T where it is foolproof, and that you can make a good hire the very first time. I've hired enough mistakes. I've done enough mistakes, and I've worked on this, and I've got it. I'm hiring really great people at very low cost amount here. So the question I have for you, because I'm telling you, you can do it. It can be done. You can expand, scale, move forward in your business, and spend more time working on your business rather than in your business. What's your rationale? Give me a rationale for hiring. What's your rationale for not hiring?
I need to understand the process before I can explain it to somebody else.
Great. Okay. So if you don't know what you're doing and you hire somebody, do you think that you're going to have success? Well, actually, you can. It depends if they have experience. So you hire expertise that you may not have, right? Okay, very good. That's a great rationale for not hiring, but we can overcome that. What's another rationale for not hiring? Cost.
You don't believe.
What's your time worth an hour? A lot. How much are you going to pay a VA compared to your time? So if you continue doing the same tasks that you're doing, how much is it costing you? Let's say your time's worth $20 an hour. That's $20 an hour. And you could hire it out at $3 an hour. How much is that costing you? $17 an hour, right? Okay. Does that resolve that objection, the cost? Here's another way of looking at the cost. If you're hiring, and this is one of the first things that we train on, is hiring a research assistant, a shopping assistant, basically, somebody that's going to find products online for you. The cost of having them find products at $3, $4, $5 an hour, compared to the cost of the product itself, the amount that you're going to spend on the product, because they can find you $1,000 worth of product at your cost, compared to maybe $20 of labor, or $30 or $40 of labor. So it's very small in comparison to that expensive product. The cost of hiring a VA is very, very small in your business. What's another rationale for not hiring? Yes, John?
Loss of control.
Loss of control. Are you a control freak, John?
No comment.
How many control freaks do we have here? Yeah. Oh, more than half the room. Have you heard me kind of whining about the cold? It's not because I'm cold that I'm whining. It's because I want the workshop to run the way I want it. And this is not in my plans. And so I'm upset. I'm a control freak. I want control over that. Well, the answer to that one is to let go of control to some degree. We set up systems in order to be able to track what's going on over here and to give us an early warning sign if something's not going the way we want it. So we work smart, and that's what the planning was yesterday, the project management system is so that you can limit your loss, you limit your exposure. You set up tools and tracking so it limits the amount that can go wrong. Remember, if you have two KPIs, two different people, and they're supposed to be working in tandem and they're not communicating, you'd say, well, this person should have told me, so I could have told that person. No, we set up the system to set those controls in place so that it limits our exposure. And that's part of growing. What's another rationale?
Scott's always hitting on me. Why are you doing $5 an hour, $10 an hour work when you could be billing out at
Yeah, we were just talking about that with Bo. And you really have to do look at the cost of your time because, well, here's another thing. Let's say that you're making $20 an hour right now in your online arbitrage business or your retail arbitrage business or book flipping or whatever that is. You only have so many hours in a day, right? So that's going to put a ceiling on the amount of money that you can make. And this is a way of multiplying yourself by hiring other people at a much lower cost. Any other objections? Ann?
Not knowing or understanding what other tax consequences or what else, other things do you have to do if you hire somebody as a VA? I mean, like you're obviously paying them, but are there other wage expenses or things like that?
Sure. There are different rules for hiring overseas versus hiring in the United States. There's independent contractor, there's actually employer relationship, employer-employee relationship. There's lots of things like that. In our training, and we have great training in e-commerce business school on hiring. There's really good training there. We discuss a lot of that in that training. And then for tax consequences, you can ask Carol too. Okay. Sharon.
I know that my first attempt at a VA, U.S. or overseas, I was afraid to do something overseas. It was a fear.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I've overcome that.
So that fear is what? That we won't be able to communicate?
That is just not knowing connectivity issues and but
Technology.
Yeah, and I think it was the communication
Uh-huh.
element.
Okay. I think that's just common in business, that when you have to learn something new and it's outside your comfort zone, that you're going to experience that. Yeah, I had a person, an employee that I had a lot of trouble understanding. You know how we resolved that? We just typed. No, we just typed. And their English, because it was the accent that was an issue. There's one other objection that I hear a lot, or at least I hear it in the culture, this culture. If you want something done right, and that's akin to control, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. So this is all mind shift issues. And the problem is, like that ceiling that I was talking about, when we're self-employed, when we're a solopreneur, we only have so many hours a day, and we're doing all the work ourselves. And it is definitely a mind shift. That's from Rich Dad, Poor Dad, that quadrant. And so we're making the shift from self-employed into being a business owner. And the business owner is the one that works on the business. It's not the technician that works in the business. You want to hire technicians. And to the degree that you want to move into investor, you're not going to be doing any work in the business. Because investors don't work in the business. They're not employees. They're investing on people and money. They want to make their money grow. And that's what they're working with, is money. So if we're selling to an investor, they're here. They don't want to work in the business either. They certainly don't want to buy a job. And I don't know how many of you want to continue your job of, going to thrift stores or, sourcing products in that way. There are fun things that you don't want to let go of. Like, I love going to trade shows. I really enjoy that. So I want to do that. And that's the great thing about this, is you can choose things that you want to do and then let go, offset, outsource those things that you don't want to do. So the 3 reasons for hiring. Tasks that you don't like doing. I don't like, the retail shopping aspect. I don't want to sit on the computer and look for products. I just don't enjoy that. So I'm going to hire that out. That makes sense? Everybody's got that? You can think about the things that you don't enjoy in your business right now. How about those things you don't know how to do? Anne? So can you hire that out?
I know I can. That's just been right here.
Mm-hmm. We'll talk a little bit more about what you should know, as far as when you don't know what's the minimum level of what you should know. And then what about those tasks you feel you shouldn't be doing? Anne talks about this first. When she was just a family business, she was working, I think, with her oldest son, Isaiah, and he came to her and said, "How many hours are you spending answering questions?" That was the very first hire they made, was to get somebody to answer questions. And customer service, by the way, not so much for an Amazon business, because they take care of that, but in any other business, customer service is one of the first things that people hire out. Think about it. The receptionist, isn't that the lowest level, like at your, I want to call it a clinic, at your salon? Is the receptionist kind of the lowest level of employee? Least amount of skill required? Yeah, and so that's one of the first things that you might hire out, that lowest skill. So those things that you say, I really shouldn't be doing that. What roles can VAs play in your business? So now we're talking virtual assistants here, not like a local person that would be a receptionist, but somebody that's working remotely. Now they don't have to be overseas, but typically that's what we're doing, is hiring somebody overseas because of that low cost. And for somebody overseas, this is their profession. They do this. Now there's a number of different levels and ways in which they work. So a general virtual assistant is that person that would do anything or everything for you, whatever you need done, within limits. So it could be that, like a personal secretary, it could be somebody that's Amazon related, they're just going to do all this general stuff within your Amazon account. And we think about that as, this is my go-to person that I have them do those low-level tasks that I don't want to spend time doing. Across from that would be a specialist. Let's say running sponsored ads. In fact, that was the first hire I made for my Amazon business, was to hire somebody to do my sponsored ads. And I felt that I didn't understand it well enough, and I wanted a specialist, and that's what this guy did. He's from India, and I think he was about $6 an hour. Remember Karthik? Didn't you hire for a little while too, Josie?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we both, I found him and recommended him to Josie, and I don't think Josie was very pleased with him. I remember that. So sometimes you find somebody that works well for you, and it's a personality thing, or the way they do it may not be the way somebody else wants it done. So anyway, he was the first hire of mine for my Amazon business. He was a specialist. That was his thing, were sponsored ads. Basic low-level skills. Again, that general VA, well, basic low-level skills. What's our low-level? Sourcing products or researching products is one of the lowest level skills. It's one of the most commonly found skills for an Amazon seller, because there's so many Amazon sellers looking for product researchers, product research, brand research, and it's easy to find people to do that. It doesn't take a lot of training for those people. That's the key here. It's not much training. So an entry-level VA often can do that type of work. Just simple research, mining for data in a spreadsheet, like let's say you want them to pull a list of names out of a spreadsheet or put a list of names into a spreadsheet, that kind of thing. And then there's the high-level skills, and you could say that sponsored ads might be a high-level skill. Writing ad copy, doing image editing. So there's a wide spread there between basic, low-level, and high-level skills. The most I paid was for a copywriter, $500, and this was years ago. I paid $500 to write a long page sales letter. That was probably the highest level that I've hired for. I've hired an attorney to do my trademark, by the way. He was U.S., but I hired him through the same network, using Upwork. And I did a research for a trademark attorney. And I paid him a contract. Whoops, right here. I paid him a flat fee rather than an hourly wage. So it was a contract to get a job done. He performed the job, he got paid for it, and that was the length of the contract. By the way, I would highly recommend him. He was very inexpensive, and he knew his stuff. He was the creator of the MP3 file format. He wrote the MP3 book for dummies. Interesting guy. He passed just not that many months ago. And then besides short term, yes, John?
Would you mention the name of that, which you went to look?
Upwork. And that's in our training.
Okay.
So I'm not going to be doing the hands-on part of the training here. I'm talking about the bigger picture of what this can do for your business and what you need to know, how you should be thinking about hiring. And we're going to do a little bit of hands-on, but it's not going to be about going to Upwork and looking for an employee. Okay? By the way, those of you that have signed up and gotten that bonus, I'm going to be directly working with you on finding the right person for you, using my system. Okay? Short-term contract, you can hire somebody part-time, you can hire somebody for just a contract, you can hire somebody part-time but permanent, full-time permanent, you can pay them by the hour, you can pay them by the week, the salary. It can all be arranged. Any way that you want to hire somebody or any way that they want to work with you, in as long as you come to an agreement, you can have it. So I like to hire permanent workers that work for me only. That's my preference. But sometimes I hire short-term contracts. Regardless of that big dream, you've got to build a foundation. You have to have a business that has cash flow.
If you need more cash, go out and source some more. Shove those products into Amazon, what's going to spit out the other end is profit. It's that simple, isn't it?
Then they start looking at it as, this really is a system. So how can I add more to my system? How can I start to scale this?
That's why this is so integral, each pillar leading up sequentially to that long-term reliable business.
These are the real assets then that somebody who wants to buy a business, this is what they look for.
This is the brand launcher, the career launcher, the income launcher. It's a beautiful thing.
How many of you are interested in selling your business? Build it to sell, make a profit. They can learn and master this skill and then turn around and do it multiple times over.
Yes, you can make $1 million just selling on Amazon alone.